28 Years Later is finally here. Ironically, the sequel is not being released 28 years after the first film, 28 Days Later, which is a shame. I'm a sucker for thematics. I mean, they could have just held off for a couple more years. Is that a stupid thing to be annoyed by? Yes, but that's just where I'm at. It's time to review this thing. "28 Years Later" is the third installment in the aptly named 28 Zombies franchise. Danny Boyle is returning to the director's chair 2 decades after creating this series. The making of 28 Days Later might as well be filmmaking folklore at this point. The film was made on an extremely low budget, and they didn't even have permits to shoot the abandoned London scenes. Despite that, Danny Boyle and his crew managed to make a zombie film that garnered a sizable following and justified 2 sequels, one of which is the topic of today's video. So what's going on in the world of 28 Years Later after the rage virus infected its first crumpet-eating, cheese-sipping Englishman? Well, the UK has fallen entirely, but the rest of the world has managed to push the virus back, so it remains exclusively on the island nation. There is no cure in this story, so the world decided to set up a naval blockade around the United Kingdom, and any remaining survivors will now be forced to stay under the threat of death by foreign military. There's no escape for the survivors in this movie. That's not the point. I'm just explaining the rules of this world. There's no expectation these people are making it out of here. But when it comes to the characters, we follow this small family that lives in an island community just off the coast of mainland UK. 28 Years Later follows this family through the trials and tribulations of living in this world. I'm surprised to say this movie lives up to the long wait, and what I'm even more surprised about is the fact that the filmmakers behind this managed to make 28 Years feel grand without including an over-the-top story. I was expecting some big questions about cures or nuclear cleansing of the virus, but that's not what we got. No, we have a very personal story following this family. The sense of grandeur comes from the world itself. Society has completely devolved in this part of the world. People become a little strange after living like that for too long, and it was fascinating to watch all that play out. Any zombie narrative that wants to have depth knows that the intrigue comes from the humans of our story, not the zombies themselves.
Ain't that some shit? These are some racist motherfucking zombies!
I also appreciate the gritty old-school editing these movies are known for making a return. 28 Years Later was made on a budget of $25 million, but Danny Boyle made sure it still had that art house feel, that indie feel. I say that in the best of ways. The camera work, editing, cinematography, and the score all contribute to that aesthetic. This movie really is solid, and it manages not to overstay its welcome. With a 2-hour runtime, it's very contained, and I do feel like anyone can jump right into this movie even if they haven't seen the previous 2 28 films. Really, the only complaint that I have from my experience with 28 Years Later is the ending is a bit unfulfilling. It's not necessarily a bad ending, but I don't know. I didn't really fuck with it.
Well, shit.
28 Years Later is one of the few times I can say a legacy sequel lived up to expectations. No unnecessary callbacks, no lazy fan service, and no bloated runtimes. You won't find any of that here. All you'll find is a great movie and a great way to spend your afternoon. Yeah, I'm gonna recommend you see this one in theaters. Me and my team definitely recommend it. My team includes myself and my friends who are forced to listen to my bullshit.
No, if you're not careful, you can see my balls 28 seconds from now.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you bring that up because there's a zombie in 28 Years Later that totally hangs dong.
Is it good dunk?
That's it for me. And as always, thank you for your time.